WFNY BrownsCast. I'm your host, Joe Gilbert. I'm with Taylor Jedrzejek, and we're part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. For first-time depositors, enter in the code WFNY at checkout, and Underdog will match up your deposit up to $100. It's a great platform if you're tired of the DFS salary system. There's tons of different game types and drafts every night of the week for every sport. Don't forget to use WFNY checkout to get your first time deposit matched up to $100. That is Underdog Fantasy, our sponsor for today. Taylor, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. My voice might come across kind of shot today. I've been dealing with some sickness, but other than that, I should be fine.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's before we kind of head into this week, a lot to happen in this week. Let's kind of go back to I would say the kind of biggest win of the season, in my opinion. But what's your any kind of thoughts, final thoughts? I know our podcast kind of ended abruptly last week,
Yeah.
or on Sunday. So, any final thoughts you had about last week's victory, or actually last Sunday's victory?
I don't know. Just the more we've kind of let it simmer and let it kind of bleed in. Just letting how cool it was to let Jacoby have that moment.
Yeah.
And let him see him get that moment. The videos of him celebrating when they scored, it was he deserved to win more than he lost.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfortunate part is he was 4-7 when he could have been 6-5 as a starting quarterback this year.
Yeah.
It's just other things got in the way, but it certainly wasn't him.
Mm.
So I'm glad that he got to go off at a win. I'm glad that he got to go off on a win at home where the fans could show appreciation.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like, and we said this a lot on Sunday, it felt like it certainly felt like a win that could shift the vibes in the locker room, in the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems a more upbeat kind of locker room this week.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of reasons for that, but one of them is definitely that win, and kind of it just showed I talked about it, and we talked about it on Sunday. It just showed something that the team hasn't showed all year. It's just that kind of fight, that heart, that never give in to the adversity. Because they could have just laid down multiple times during that game, but they didn't. Defense played well, special teams played well overall, and the offense did just enough at the end to kind of win it for them. It was just a nice team win, and as you said, it was nice to kind of get Jacoby his final win as starter with the Browns. And I don't know if everybody has seen the mic'd up video of Jacoby, but it just seems like he's just beloved in that locker room. So it was great to see him kind of get that W.
I also learned that Jacoby Brissett really likes the phrase "F yeah."
He does. That is yes. If you listen to that, yeah, that is used a lot.
I think that's about 70% of what he says.
Yeah. That was funny too. Yeah, but it was neat to see. And with that, it's kind of now the passing of the torch to what the Cleveland Browns hope to be their franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson. He returns this week off of the 11-game suspension due to the sexual assault allegations. So he is returning after not playing about 2 years of no regular season football. So yep. it's gonna be interesting to see how he plays. First of all, what's your thoughts on just how you think he will kind of play in regards to how he usually plays? Do you think he'll be a little rusty? What do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it'd be naive to say he's going to come out and look like he did in 2020
Right.
when he threw for 4,500 yards or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right out of the gate. I mean, if there's any team that he can come out and dominate and get his feet back under him, it's a Texans team that doesn't look like they want to play football right now. They just kind of want to lose and get to the draft.
Yeah, exactly.
It's they have the pieces around him where the Texans had great receivers at the time. I don't think they had a full complementary offense at that point. I think they had to throw the ball to move the ball. I don't think they could really run the ball back then. Granted, I haven't been really looking at how the 2020 Texans did. I know they were 4-12.
Yeah.
But he should be able to come in and at least. I mean, as long as he's good as Jacoby Brissett, I don't think there's going to be a problem. Obviously, you want him to be better than Jacoby Brissett, but he hasn't played football in so long that that should be your baseline.
Yeah.
And obviously, if he comes out and throws a pick on his first possession this week,
Oh God.
people are gonna Brown's Twitter is gonna go into all-time meltdown mode.
Oh God.
Um,
I think NFL Twitter will just explode.
yeah,
Oh my God.
the number of people rooting against the Browns is going to be at an all-time high this week.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been as many people rooting against the Browns as there will be this week,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
When they play the Bengals in a couple weeks, that's going to be toxic on Twitter. It's going to be toxic in the state of Ohio. I'm glad I'm not in the state of Ohio for that one. It's just going to be rough.
Yeah.
And they'll play the Ravens the week after. Also going to be toxic on Twitter. Maybe the lesson here is to stay off Twitter. But I think they should. I mean, I think he should come out and look like at least 75% of himself. I think it'd be unfair to come out and expect him to be the best quarterback in the league after not playing for, what is it? He missed 17 games, 28 straight games.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Let me look him up here. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on all of that. I think definitely the baseline will be Jacoby Brissett. I'll give you that.
Yeah, just don't go out there and lose the game.
Right.
It would be astronomically hard to go out and lose the game against the Texans.
True. Yeah, yeah.
But
That
being said, the Browns have found ways to lose harder games.
Yeah.
Where it was even more impossible to lose. So, like that Jets game a couple of years ago, even though they had no receivers.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the recipe is all there. I saw some interesting stuff from Jake Burns on Twitter this week, where they definitely have been installing plays in the playbook that look like they're made for Deshaun, and they're just kind of waiting. They're giving defenses a look of one thing, and then Deshaun will change it. It's going to be. I don't even. Hopefully, they're able to get out to a big enough lead in this game that they don't have to show off a whole bunch of what they have, because a Bengals defense that already struggles stopping the Browns for whatever reason.
Right.
I don't like it. The less amount of film you can give them, the better. I mean, they're probably already watching 2020 Texans film. So,
yeah, that's very true. So I just looked at it. So January 3rd, 2021 was his last regular season game. So we're going to be about, let's see, what's Sunday? That's
it'll be 23
months.
The
4th. Yeah.
It'll be 23 months.
Yeah, almost in a day.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I definitely agree. He's definitely, his baseline has to be kind of Jacoby Brissett. But I also think that even if he's like if he plays at the level of Jacoby Brissett, his threat is going to be more than what Brissett wished he could be, which
Yeah.
opens up the rest of the offense. I think it just his presence will definitely open up the kind of the offense a little bit more. The run game I think will be even better because you now have a guy who can be a dual threat. You can't I think as you were saying, Jake Burns showed showed a play last week. I think it was where it was
It
I
was
believe it was
it was wide zone to the left.
yeah, and it was an option, and
Yeah.
Brissett handed it off, and the whole defense went left, and the right side was just wide open for the quarterback to keep it and kind of go to the right. So
Yeah.
it just shows kind of they wouldn't. I would imagine the defense wouldn't do that if Watson was back there. So it just it kind of his threat if he just plays like Jacoby Brissett did and adding on to his presence on the field, I think that's an improvement even over Jacoby, even if he doesn't play up to his standards.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's the kind of a thing to kind of watch too.
Yeah.
But how do you? So we as you were saying, the team has been installing things over the past couple weeks. What do you think? Do you think we'll see a kind of a big change in play calling and how they kind of uh, go about with pass calls and run calls and all that?
I think the main thing you're going to see is a lot more runs out of shotgun.
Yeah,
Um, because that's just kind of where that offense works better with a quarterback that can move and has the accuracy out on the edges like Deshaun Watson has.
mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see more RPO than you ever did.
Yeah,
Baker did it. He did it pretty well at times,
mm-hmm.
especially at the end of 2020. But that I think more than anything, the RPO is what's going to keep boxes from being 8-9 guys
Yeah,
because you can't commit that much to the run and then just have Amari Cooper running a slant against one dude,
yeah,
like because he'll just toast him
yeah,
like he does almost every week to people.
yeah.
Um,
We saw it last week.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So like you're going to see facets of the offense that they haven't been able to do. Um, I doubt we're going to see a whole lot of designed quarterback run.
yeah,
Um, Deshaun Watson is athletic. He's not a runner like that. Um, he can move. He's not Josh Allen.
right. You don't want him. You don't want him taking pounding. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
No,
I agree with
no,
that.
no.
Yeah.
And we still don't know where the health of the offensive line is. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's I have a few. It's going to be the offense that we've seen cranked up a couple notches. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're gonna see a lot. Like I could foresee a lot more like no huddle kind of stuff. Just keeping defensive personnel gassed
Yeah,
because gassed personnel does not do good against the option when it comes down to it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess we'll get a better indication of what that is. I doubt they're going to use their best stuff this week.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep that for Cincinnati
Yeah.
because that's a game you need. Obviously, you need this game, but and I noticed in your rundown you put Texans strengths. They don't really have
Question mark?
any. They
Question
don't
mark?
really have any. Their running back is pretty good, and that could hurt the Browns. But
Yeah.
um, no, they don't have very many. So, uh,
Uh,
like the hope is you don't need a whole lot of
mhm.
bells and whistles to beat this team.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they're not going to open up the full playbook, but I do think that we will see more verticality in this offense. because now we have Watson, who has a really good arm, and is not afraid to throw it downfield. We'll see more deep shots. I think more kind of vertical play down the field. We haven't seen like Njoku. Njoku is such a freak athlete. I think we haven't really truly seen his like true like dynamic self he can be, because he can be a mismatch down the field, down the middle of the
Yeah.
field. But Brissett's not that guy that kind of wants to test the.
He doesn't want to take the gap shots. He doesn't want
Right,
to try to fit things in when there's other things there. Like
right.
the times where he did try to fit things in, it worked for the most part.
Mm.
Um,
It was
but
mostly down the sidelines too, like
yeah,
because down the middle is you got defenders coming from both sides, so there's there's a lot
yeah.
more bad things could happen down the middle of the field. So that's
I mean, I
definitely
say he doesn't want to throw into tight windows, but I keep thinking about that throw he made in the Dolphins game.
yeah.
But I think you're gonna see an offense that maybe is a little bit more wide open and less buttoned up.
Mhm.
Like even Baker in the tail end of 2020 had a more wide open offense because he was
Mhm.
feeling it and Stefanski trusted him a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what happened there, whether it was truly was the injury or
Mhm.
there was something else going on. And and this is not an argument that they should have kept Baker. I think that ship has long since sailed.
Yeah.
Um, but like I would even say that they got better play out of Jacoby Brissett than they would have at Baker this year. So,
Mhm.
and that's not a ringing endorsement for
I
Baker. I think,
I think Carolina can tell us that too.
yeah, no, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, when your choice is Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield, and you choose Sam Darnold, that kind of tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I, I just feel like it's gonna be a different offense the more we get into it. I think if people come out this weekend and expect it to look like the Cardinals, where they're running and
Yeah.
gunning everywhere, don't
No.
expect that. This is
Mm.
still
A work in progress.
yeah. Um, I could see them. I mean, it's not even ever going to be the Chiefs because the Chiefs don't have a threatening running game.
Mm.
Um, I don't know who to really compare it to. The Browns have the potential to kind of carve their own niche out
Yeah.
and be potent on both sides of the offense.
Hmm.
Um, it's a matter of, is Deshaun Watson still the quarterback that he was? I mean, will the line stay healthy? And going forward, not this the rest of this year, but after this year, what does the offense look like when Nick Chubb is the only running back?
Hmm.
Like, I know we shouldn't be talking about next year already, but like, I think playoffs, unless they win their next 3 games, are highly unlikely. Um, if they win their next 3 games, they're not
Very
highly
good.
unlikely anymore. They're still unlikely. But but this the way that I'm going to kind of treat this, unless they go on a 6 game winning streak to close the season,
Mm-hmm.
the way I'm going to treat this is I forget even what year it was. Was it the 2016 or 17 49ers that they started their last 6 or 7 games with Garoppolo and they looked like a different team,
Mm-hmm.
and they started winning games at the end of the year, and then they went to the Super Bowl the next year?
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to say the Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl because they obviously have no track record of that. Uh, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where you're at, because if they were 6-5 right now, you'd be saying if you win 4 of your last 6,
Right. Yeah.
you're probably in the playoffs. But
Like right now, you got to be perfect and get help.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, and you can help yourself by beating the Ravens or the
yeah.
Bengals.
Hmm.
The sad part is they could very well go 5-1 in their division and that be and that be most of their wins.
Right.
That would be their
Yeah.
best division record, I think, since they came back.
I would assume so. I can't imagine they would have 5-1 record.
And that's not even saying that they're going to beat Cincinnati or Baltimore, but
Yeah.
they've already shown they can beat Cincinnati, and they've shown they can beat Baltimore, and now they have a
Should have
different
beat them.
different offense going into it. So,
Right.
like, the season is still there for them. It's just a matter of, can they pull it off? Can their
Right.
defense stay consistent enough to keep the offense in games? I mean, you're not gonna. I think one of the things that's gonna change about this offense is a 7-point deficit isn't gonna feel like the end of the
Exactly.
world anymore.
Right.
Um, because I think there's going to be so many more ways for them to attack other
And
defenses that you're not going to have the middle of the game bogged down like we've seen.
right. And quicker too. They can score quicker. You would you
Yeah,
would you would think.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that kind of brings me up to actually the kind of how it'll be interesting to see how Stefanski's mindset kind of changes. I felt like he's at least sometimes he could have been maybe kind of a little hesitant to kind of push the envelope on decisions to go for it, or I wonder if he kind of extends his fourth down range. Um, it'll be interesting to see if any of that calculations kind of change.
Well,
Um, knowing,
the thing we don't know, and
Mhm,
what we do know is that the meeting between Stefanski and Deshaun Watson,
mhm,
the football only X's and O's meeting that they had in March,
right?
obviously excited Deshaun Watson enough to leave the Browns in the conversation.
Yeah,
So whatever was said in that meeting, which we won't know until if they win their next 6 games, I'm sure someone will say, "Hey, what was in that meeting?"
yeah, right. It'll come out. Yeah,
But if whatever he had planned for Deshaun Watson after watching film on him and seeing and showing him how he can work in this offense, excited Deshaun Watson enough to come here or to go to Cleveland, there was obviously something more that we haven't seen.
yeah,
And it's not like we could even go back and see that there's no precedent for how Stefanski handles this with a quarterback of that caliber.
yeah,
The most mobile quarterback that offense has ever seen with him as a coach would have been Teddy Bridgewater back in Minnesota.
and
But
he's
even
not the most. He's
and
not.
Bridgewater, well, he's not mobile anymore because his
No,
knee exploded.
right.
But um, he was mobile his rookie year, and he was pretty good. I haven't watched. Obviously, I haven't gone back to 2015 and watched film, but Bridgewater was good,
Yeah,
and then had his career derailed by a traumatic knee injury.
right.
So I think it's going to be a side of that offense that we haven't seen. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually. You know what? This is probably the best comparison. When Kaepernick was hot with the 49ers. Kaepernick is
Yeah,
a better runner than Deshaun Watson, but the threat is still there with Deshaun Watson.
yeah,
And the 49ers could run the ball at the
mhm,
time. And
yeah,
they had their receivers, and like they were going up and down the field on people because
mhm.
there was no way to stop them. So like obviously am I going to say they're going to go out and run or go for 500 yards against the Texans this
Right.
weekend? No.
Yeah,
But the potential is there for them to have a completely different dynamic offense.
yeah,
And this is why you go out and make that trade and mortgage so much of your future and mortgage so much of your goodwill.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You probably actually mortgage more goodwill than you do your future.
Right,
Because if you're good, the first round picks don't matter.
right.
Um, but you've taken so much goodwill hit and you've taken so much of a PR hit. And you don't have like neutral fans aren't going to root for you anymore. Not that
Uh-huh.
matters to anyone, but like it's it's a different thing it's just different. It feels different to be a Browns fan and to be a
Right.
member of the Browns than it did in February.
Right. You're not that lovable kind of fan base. They're always down on their luck and
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no,
Yeah, you're not.
it's different. And will that fade with time? I don't know. Ask the Steelers fans.
Yeah.
The
Well,
only people who
faded in
remember
about a season.
the only people who remembered that at the end were the rest of the
Browns
AFC
fans.
North.
Yeah.
And the only
Yep.
people that were calling that out by the end were the rest of the AFC North. So,
Yep.
time, I'm not going to say time heals it, but time makes it fade.
Yeah. That's a better way of saying it.
Other controversies will make it fade. I mean, Antonio Brown's still doing things.
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
eh, and making it fade doesn't mean that my opinion of him is ever going to change. But
Right.
it's, I'm a Browns fan, and
Hmm.
like it's what it is. Like, it's unfortunately that's the decision that we were put in
Yep.
when this happened.
Right.
So, like, I know people who don't watch the Browns anymore because of it, and
Yep.
that, you know what, that's fine. I get
That's
it.
fine. Yeah. I get it too.
I get it. It's not me. I'm not going to support Deshaun Watson the person. It's going to be hard to support Deshaun Watson the football player, but that's the reality of the NFL. That it's more about it's more about the means, the ends than the means.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah. That's a good way to kind of end the that part of it. Yeah. So moving kind of to the Texans, we you you briefly spoke on it. Strengths and weaknesses of them. Just based on PFF, they're bottom three, I believe, of both offense and defense. Hey, but their special teams is number two. So
well, they punt the ball so much, I would hope so.
I know, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to dive too much into the Texans here because they are pretty bad.
I feel like
It's,
if you stop Damian Pierce,
yeah,
you pretty
you
much
have a
stop
good
their
shot in
offense.
winning. Right.
Yeah,
I think I haven't heard officially, but is Kyle Allen still the starter?
yeah, he's still
Well,
going to start.
okay. So yeah, Kyle Allen, who has been around the block, um, and the receiving core has Brandon Cooks, but you gotta throw it. You gotta complete passes to get it to him.
He's also listed as questionable. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know how like questionable that is.
Yeah. So it looks like I have the injuries up here. So it looks like Brandon Cooks was non-related rest. So I'm guessing he'll probably play, but we'll see.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah. Other than that, did not practice. Stingley, their first round pick, did not practice, and then Rex Burkhead, did not practice.
Rex Burkhead is exactly the kind of guy that would beat the Browns too.
It's very, very true. Very true.
I've watched Kyle Juszczyk do too many mean things to the Browns in the past.
It's very true. That is a very true statement. But yeah, the Texans are bad. They're probably the worst team in the league. Um,
I mean, there's not very much competition right now either.
right. Yeah, I
For
thought Carolina was bad, but hey, they're
well,
on. They could make the playoffs now. Who knows?
Carolina is bad. They're just the kind of bad that gets you stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, yeah, they're not quite good enough to be a top five pick, or not quite enough bad enough to be top five pick, but not good enough to be even close to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, the Texans are 2 games clear of everyone else for the first pick right now. Um,
I don't think anyone's really going to catch them.
no,
Even
I
like
mean,
it shows them how bad they are. They're in the worst division, and they're just not even close. Like
yeah,
that's,
they're. I mean,
that's the worst division in football, and I don't know.
Yeah,
They just had no chance.
yeah. I mean, they could easily be 1-10 right now if the Colts knew what they were doing in Week 1. Um,
Like, to be fair, like the Houston Texans are pretty much going with the Browns playbook. They're tanking. They tanked last year and they're tanking this year. They have pretty much cut bait on most of the roster, the good players. I don't know why they keep Brandon Cooks around. He doesn't want to be there, and I'm not sure what he's kind of doing there. But
yeah,
beyond him, it's very much looking like what the Browns did a couple years ago when they kind of try to lose and get the top picks, which they're Houston looks like they're in line to do here. But yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
I mean, if there was any game the rest of the season they'd want to win, it'd be this one
Yeah,
because it helps their draft stock somehow. Um,
one way or another, yes, it does.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I guess it's kind of a win-win. They
Yeah,
either make their own draft pick better or they make their other draft pick better.
right, right.
So,
It's a
it,
win-win situation here.
yeah, I mean, I would think that the Browns probably. I mean, the Browns. I think more likely than not. I think finish under 500, but under 500 is still 8-9 right now.
Right. I'll
Um,
never get used to that.
yeah, no, it's weird. Which obviously was not the goal coming into the season, but I think once the 11 game suspension was handed down, the playoffs became really, really tough to manage. Had they
Right.
won a couple of those games that they lost, it'd be a lot different story now, but they didn't. So as much as we can dwell on them and point at them and say that's the issue, I mean, in the end, it's a loss. So
Yeah. Yeah. So Damian Pierce, as you said, is the kind of their best player, kind of their centerpiece, pretty much of their offense.
yeah, he's been their
Um,
bright spot.
yeah. He's a rookie. So
Yeah,
other than that, their defense is pretty bad. They give up a lot of rushing yards. So this could be a very good game for Nick Chubb. Should be a very good game for Nick Chubb.
most games should be a good game for Nick Chubb,
True. Yeah. And
especially now with the box not being stacked.
yeah.
They're one of the only teams in the league that give up more yards per game rushing than the Browns do. So,
That shows you.
eh,
Oh my God.
and not only that, they give up 37 more per game on average than the Browns
Oof,
do. Like
that's incredible.
they're giving up 169 on the ground a game. Like,
That's
do
incredible,
do
dude.
they even need to pass? I mean, they're giving up 230 through the air too. So like, they're basically a Big 12 defense in the NFL. They're giving up
Yeah.
400 yards a game on total.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be It should be a game that the Browns are very well suited to kind of
yeah,
easily win, but the Browns.
the Browns have been kind of searching for a get right game for a while.
Yeah, true.
I mean, Chargers, Patriots, Ravens, Bengals, Dolphins, Bills, Bucks. Like, there's no get right games mixed in there. Had the schedule been mixed up just a little bit to get
Yeah,
it's like even if the Steelers had come between the Bengals and the Dolphins,
right.
like you have some potential to like kind of right the ship, but they had just such a gauntlet in the middle of the season.
Yeah, they really did. Yeah, those first four games were kind of, if they could have split, kind of mingled them in more, it would have been probably better
I
for
mean,
them.
they were 2 plays away from 4-1.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like it's just the NFL this year has been on the edge all the season. There's not aside from the Texans, the other 31 teams. It doesn't feel like there's a whole big difference between them.
right. Yeah,
Because even the Chiefs are getting pushed to the limit by teams they shouldn't. Who the Chiefs lost to someone weird. It was the Colts. The Chiefs lost to the Colts, and the Colts don't look like what they're doing. They don't look like they know what they're doing half the time.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's a weird year. Definitely a weird year. Um,
yeah,
Okay, so heading past the Texans, so just Browns health wise, we had a couple did not practice. Yeah, actually, this is one of the more healthier weeks on pretty much Hewlett.
Hard to believe.
Right, I know. Charlie Hewlett, the long snapper, was sick, so I assume he would play if it's not COVID related or whatever, which it didn't
Man, if he
say.
doesn't play, I don't. They haven't had. He's been
Uh,
their long snapper since Ryan Point Brown retired.
yeah,
I don't know what they're gonna do.
yeah. I don't know who the backup is. um,
They might go sign someone.
yeah, yeah. David
He,
Njoku is did not practice, but I think he's just gonna for probably the rest of the year. I would assume he's not going to practice much, kind of just to keep him healthy. And then Denzel Ward did not practice either. He is dealing with an ankle and a hamstring issue, so that's something to kind of watch as we go in.
yeah.
Before we get to our keys to victory, let's kind of just talk briefly about. I think I think there's advantages all over, but just on offense for the Browns, I would assume you're gonna agree with me that running the ball heavily would be the way to go here against the Texans.
Yeah, like, and you could even run the same offense you have been. I don't know if that's because they're in such a win now mode that withholding something for another game seems disingenuous. But if they didn't break out the Deshaun offense until next week, I wouldn't be surprised.
I can see that. Yeah, I think it's going to be early on. I think they'll kind of if they see, okay, I think we can get this done. We won't see as much of a expanded offense as we will the following weeks. But yeah,
Plus, it'll give another week to install it. They've had 2 weeks now, I think. We're in our third. He's in his third week of being able to practice with the team. His first week is practicing as the starting quarterback.
Right.
So, it's going to take some time to get the chemistry down. So I don't know if introducing everyone to new plays while they're trying to figure that out is
right.
Might be the best way to do it.
Right. Yeah. And then on defense, it's basically stop Damian Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, do whatever you did last week.
Yeah. Maybe kind of go on what teams did to you.
Yeah.
Run that bear style defense 5-2 up front and make Kyle Allen beat you. Like,
yeah,
it should be hard. Like the strategy for this game should not be hard. This is the worst team in the league, and the Browns should take care of business just based on their talent level.
Yeah, I mean,
talent should carry them over.
Yeah, I mean that'd be the hope. I mean,
yeah.
This is catastrophic. Fire people on Monday kind of loss if you lose.
Oh yeah, if we see Bad Joe Woods defense, oh boy.
Yeah, like this isn't a team that you should lose to.
No. Yeah. So keys to victory. Mine is basically run the ball. Don't give any easy opportunities. Don't turn it over. Just don't play stupid.
Yeah, don't. That would be my number one. Don't screw it up.
Yeah, don't play Brownsy football.
Please. Yeah,
yeah. That would be
actually the king of Browns football this year is actually the Ravens. But
that's true. Yeah, they can't finish.
Yeah, I was watching those clips today, and I was like, "Wow, this is the third time they've done that this year, and they almost did it a fourth." They truly are embracing their Browns heritage.
They really are, yeah. It's very odd, yeah. Yeah, it's a simple game plan. Just play smart football. Don't do stupid things. Special teams, don't be catastrophic, and take care of business. Pretty
Yeah, I
much.
mean, it's this isn't a game, like, obviously this phrase is a little bit facetious in a way, but like, this isn't a game where you need like your A plus game.
Right.
That doesn't mean you go all out, but like, you you
C plus.
you just kind of need to not beat yourself.
Yeah.
Just do what you do and go home with a win.
And the tough thing is that the Browns have beat themselves
Many
multiple times,
times,
many
yeah,
many times this year. So it's not something to kind of shoo away. Like it's
yeah.
they have to do it. Yeah. So yeah, those are the pretty simple keys to victory here. Okay, so getting to our prop bets for the last week. We both did pretty well. Taylor, you did 6-2. I was 5-3. So Browns were plus 3.5, and you actually chose the Browns 23-17. So you were right on that. I was correct on the 42.5 points because it was under. It hit 40, so it was right around that. So I was right
Yeah.
on that one. Tom
Vegas
Brady.
stays winning.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how they do it, but it's always like 3 or 4 points away from
Yeah, on either side.
right on either side. Tom Brady, 274.5 passing yards in the game. He was under that, 246, and we both had that correct.
We thought there'd be a lot more rushing yards
Right,
involved, but
we did. Jacoby Brissett, 223.5 passing yards. We were both wrong. We thought
he actually struggled a good bit during
he
the
did.
game.
Yeah, I think what 70, 60 or 70 might have been in the fourth quarter in overtime.
He probably, I think, in the final two drives of the fourth quarter and the game-winning drive in overtime, I think probably accounted for about 120, 130
Yeah,
yards.
it's kind of
So, like, I remember seeing the stat early in the fourth quarter. He was like
115 or
he
120
was
or
like
something.
11 of 24 for 88.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was not good.
no, yeah, the offense was
His
stuck.
interception doesn't count because it was on a Hail Mary, but
Yeah, yeah, the offense was stuck for most of the game, and yeah,
yeah.
so he almost beat that total, but just got under at 210. Nick Chubb crushed his 76.5 rushing yards. We were both right on that.
Yeah,
He had
he had to, or they wouldn't have had a chance.
right, yeah, he had
And
100.
there was a small part of me that was like, if they lose this game, if they're gonna lose this game, please let them do it with Nick Chubb having 20 or more carries. Because I just want that stat to die.
I know, right? It's such the most meaningless stat ever.
Yeah. Because, like, obviously if they're winning a game or they have a chance to win a game, he's
Breaking
gonna
news.
run the ball more.
Yeah,
Like, this isn't rocket science. It's what it
yeah,
is. Like,
right. I know. I agree with you on that one.
and I was actively thinking this during the game. I was like, God, I hate myself. But if they're gonna lose this game,
There will be
can Nick
one
Chubb
good
have
thing about
21 carries?
it. Make it that. Oh man, I also thought of that too. That was funny. Amari Cooper over under 62.5 receiving yards. He had 94. We were both right on that.
He had 46 on one play.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He was almost under that. So
Yeah.
over under 90 total rushing yards for the Bucks. This number was pretty funny. So it was 96,
Yeah.
just over. So we were both right on that. I think we were over on 100. I think we predicted, which
Yeah. I think after seeing 54 rushing yards on the first drive,
yeah,
like that over seemed like it was going to hit easily, but they had, I think, no, it was 56 yards on the first drive and then 40 the rest of the drive, and 15 of those came on one reverse.
yeah,
So they had, I think it was, what would have been, I think it was 10 carries for 25 yards
yeah.
that weren't Julio Jones reverse or on that first drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the Bucks didn't try to run the ball a whole lot because I think the Browns did a really good job of the first down run rep, which they have been terrible at for like a month before this game,
Yeah,
giving up 5 or 6 yards on a first down run. They've done
yeah,
that
they did
almost
very
all
well.
season. They were giving up 0 to 2 yard runs on first down, and that takes the rushing offense away when you have Tom Brady who can just throw little dink passes and basically act as a run game.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of funny if someone just watched the first two drives of both offenses.
you'd,
I
you'd have
think I
expected the
think
games to be in the
I think
40s.
right. I think if you told them it was what it was the final score 23-17, I think both teams would. I think you would like, what are you talking
This
about?
game's going to go into overtime, tied at 17.
Right, right. It was pretty funny. So, and then the last one, you were right. You had the Browns winning 24-20, very close to the actual score. I had Bucks 24-17. So if I had the Browns, I would have been right, almost right on. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so you were 6-2, 5, and I was 5-3, and which is crazy. The season total is now tied 35-31. So
No
uh,
separation.
right, no separation here. Okay, so heading into this week, Browns are right now -7 according to FanDuel. What you got?
I'll take the -7.
Same. Yeah, I'm gonna. I think
I
Browns
think they'll
win.
cover.
Yeah. So okay. So we're both taking the Browns. Yeah, I think we talked about it all on this podcast. I think they better be winning by 7. Is what I. Um, yeah, I don't see how they can't be kind of easily winning this game, but you never know. It's the Cleveland
Yeah.
Browns. This one's an interesting one. It's over under 47.5 points.
It's high.
It is high, but it is inside, so the weather is not a factor this week. Um, Deshaun Watson is back, so I think they're factoring in that.
I'll,
So
I'll,
it'll
I'll
be
go over. I'll go over. I think
over.
until the Browns show that they have this kind of defense week in, week out, it's hard for me to say that the Browns are going to win 31-7 and keep this as an under. I think
Yeah.
even if the Browns score 31 points, the Texans are probably going to manage 20. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go over.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over too. I was leaning towards under because I don't know if the Texans can score, but
No, I mean, they're
then
averaging 15 points a game, but I don't
like
trust this defense yet.
that's what I'm saying too. Yeah, I only give the nod. Now, if we see last week's defense, then this is under. I think, but
I mean, if they play the defense the same way they did the other night or the other day, I'm not sure the Texans can score.
yeah, right. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over. I feel like this is that one's probably the toughest one to pick here. It's just it could go either way, depending on what Browns team shows up. Really.
Yeah.
Um, okay, next one is Chubb over 90 or over under 91.5 rushing yards.
I'm gonna go over. I think they're gonna rely on him more. They're gonna rely on the run game more this week. I think
Yeah,
just to kind of ease Watson into the offense.
I know we're all agreeing on all these, but yeah, I agree on this one. I think this is an easy over. As we talked about, this is a terrible run defense, worse than the Browns, which is
Yeah.
terrible. So I think he easily gets it. And then as we were talking about, I think the presence of Watson kind of negates anybody's and all the defense coordinators that have been kind of filling up the box. They can't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
um, I think over on that one. Next one, this is our first Deshaun Watson's kind of prediction here. I'm just going with total yards here. So rushing and passing, 320 over
Under.
under.
Basically for the same reason I just said, that I think they're going to rely on Chubb a little more. I don't think. I mean, if Watson comes out and throws for 350 in his first game back, ESPN might bury it. But like I could see it, but I don't think that that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to save. I think they're going to try to save that for a better team.
Okay.
That being said, if they're down 17-7 in the second quarter,
Then he might throw for 400 yards.
then he might have to light it up. And
Yeah.
it'll be just like he's back on the Texans.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, so you go under. I'm gonna go over. I think he'll get more rushing yards than we think. I just think kind of Stefanski's offense it's perfectly fit for him, and I think it has a lot of untapped running for the quarterback in it that we haven't seen because we haven't had a running quarterback. Baker showed it a little bit because he could scramble a little bit, but like we're seeing a whole different dynamic here, and I just think he's going to get at least I think maybe like 50 yards or something. That's my prediction, my bold prediction there. So he doesn't have to get 300 yards passing. I think he'll get a lot of rushing yards. And
in my own head, I was thinking, is 260 possible? And I was like,
I think it definitely is.
I think it's within the realm, but I don't know if they'll want to run him that much.
Right.
So I think that's what my ultimate decision for under was.
Yeah. I think a lot of it might be just like his scrambling too.
Yeah.
I think we might see a lot because I can picture just all the reps that Jacoby took. Like there's a lot of opportunities. Like I think back on where like he could pull off some runs. So
yeah,
I think that's why he's going to get over on that one. Over under Cooper 100 receiving yards.
I'm gonna go under here.
Under?
Not by much. I think a lot of games he's been ending between 85 and 95. I think that's probably where he'll end again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be the under for that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under too. It's going to be interesting to see who his kind of favorite becomes. I kind of have an inkling that it might be Njoku. Because he really liked his tight ends in Houston. It didn't matter who it was. It could be a bum. Like he went through a lot of tight ends, and he made names for them. And then when they left, they were nothing. So. It's going to be interesting to see who he kind of targets, but I think Njoku might be his favorite target. So I don't think Cooper gets to 100. I think he'll have a good game. It'll still be Cooper, but I don't think he'll hit 100.
Yeah.
Next one is Texans 90 total rushing yards over under. They average, I think it was 70 something or
78.
Yeah, 78 and. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this one. So what are you at?
I'm going to go over. I think if they're going to move the ball at all, it's probably going to be that way. I don't think it'll be – well, I don't hope it is. I don't hope it's this, and I don't think it will be. I don't think it'll be 160 or something stupid. I think if they do go over, it'll be, 105, 115. I mean, they're still not a good offense. If any rushing yards they gain is going to be because the Browns' defense is so bad at stopping.
True. Yeah. Okay, so you go over. I'm going to go under. I think I think the Texans had. I think Dameon Pierce last week had like 8 yards or something, and I know obviously that's the Miami Dolphins.
We watched the Dolphins did to us. So.
Right. True. But I'm going to go under. I just think the offense is going to score a lot, and I think the Texans are just not going to be able to run. I really hope Joe Woods has a sense of just packing the box and just making Kyle Allen beat you.
Yeah.
So I just hope that happens. So I'm gonna go under. But this is a tough one because I can see them just reverting back to their mean and kind of getting gouged by Damian Pierce all day. But we'll see. I'm going to go under. I'm going to have the hope there. um, next one is most touchdown receptions. Cooper, Njoku, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or the field.
I'm gonna go with Peoples-Jones this week.
Okay. I like that one. I'm going to go Njoku. As I said, I think Watson loves tight ends and likes to target them in the red zone, especially. So I think he'll go Njoku on that one. And you said DPJ. Okay, I like that one. He has just produced every week. Last week he didn't produce as a receiver, but he just did unbelievable job as a returner. So
I think he's someone that's going to benefit the most from Watson's ability to read the whole field. There was so much film, especially from early in the season, where he was open, just standing in the middle of the field, and Brissett just kind of didn't see him.
Yeah.
So I think he stands to benefit the most. He and Njoku stand to benefit the most from the transitioning quarterback. I think Cooper has done far better than we expected with Brissett. So, yes, his Cooper's production could increase, but his production is pretty damn good as it is. So,
okay. So, last thing is the final score prediction. What you got?
I did pick the over. I'm gonna go 34-20.
34 Browns, 34-20. Okay. I'm actually some of that. I'm going 31-20. I think we agree that it's going to be a high scoring game.
I think there's a very real possibility that it's 31-10 or 31-13, and they score a touchdown late.
Yeah,
right.
And all the overs people will be rejoice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally think this is a good going back to what you were saying. This is a get right game, man. Like it just seems like it came at the perfect time. The Browns are coming off the biggest win of the season. The vibes are good in the locker room right now. They got their franchise quarterback back. I feel like this is a get right game, and I feel like they're gonna play probably their best. We're gonna see one of their best performances of the year. So I think, I think 31-20, and I don't think it's gonna be as close as what that score kind of illustrates.
Yeah.
Okay. So any final thoughts before we get out of here? This is our longest preview pod, I think.
They better not lose.
That's basically it. Don't be stupid. Don't kill yourself.
Don't let Damian Pierce run for 175 yards.
Don't let the only guy on the Houston Texans roster beat you. Just don't be Brownsy.
Don't get any more offensive linemen hurt.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Come out of it healthy, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically it. Yeah. This is not a hard game to kind of talk about because it's basically just out talent them and don't beat yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is another edition of the WFNY BrownsCast with Joe and Taylor. We'll be back after the game, probably right after or close to it, on Sunday, following this hopefully big win by the Browns. And we'll talk to you later, and go Browns.